consistency has been, I think, everybody's bugbear this season. But I mean, especially for you guys, winning back-to-back games infrequently, having won the other night. How do you kind of bottle that and revisit it for a trip to Sunderland?
We could do it playing a bounce game here and getting beat and then bounce back from that, I think. I said to you, didn't I, last week, we're the masters of the bounce back, but it's so frustrating. 26 shots kicked in for large parts of the game. You scratch your heads, why couldn't we do that against Rochdale and Wimbledon? And that's no disrespect to them two teams, because they were better than us on the day on both occasions. But we've shown time and time again we've got the players that can be better than most teams in this league. So it is frustrating, but go against that day and see where it takes us.
Does it make it harder when the good performances are really good and set the bar that high, that when you fall below those standards it kind of feels even more frustrating?
My dad used to say a little poem to me when I was a kid. There was a little girl, had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good, but when she was bad, she was horrid. And that probably just sums about us up.
Very good. Poetry, I'm impressed with that. How do you level it out then? How do you make it between now and the end of the season so that the lows aren't quite so low and maybe even the highs aren't quite so high, that you get a more consistent?
I think going to the Stadium of Light should lift anybody really, players at our standard. And possibly that's why Sunderland have had that problem for the last couple of years. That people are, enthused by going there. So, it shouldn't be an issue of having to motivate the lads. We have played there well in the past, so hopefully we'll continue to do so again.
How do you view this league, certainly the middle to upper part of it? When you won at Oxford on Easter Monday, the talk in the press box and after the interviews from the Oxford journalists was, that's us done, we're out of it, we've got no chance, that's us dead in the water, and now they find themselves in contention. Is it a case of teams being inconsistent, or is it a case of maybe nobody being quite good enough to nail down these top 6 spots?
Bit of both, definitely a bit of both. There's no standout team in the league, anyone can beat anyone. I think if you look at our record against the top 12 and our record against the bottom 12, I think there's a big difference. But you have to play everyone twice, and that's the end of it. No one's out of contention, or should feel they're out of contention, until they're actually out of contention. And because it's been such a strange season, I think that'll continue. There'll still be twists and turns in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Just got to hope that you're at the end of one of the twists.
It'll raise eyebrows if a manager whose team are a considerable distance away but still mathematically possible says we could still be in this. But is that where you are? Is that how you feel?
Obviously. We've got to play 4 teams who are above us. You beat them all, you're going to do some serious damage to them. So I wouldn't be surprised if 73 points got you into the playoffs this year.
Do you think that almost other people doubting that might be a motivation, might help, might kind of make you feel like you can do damage to those teams and kind of prove people wrong?
Possibly. I think the state we're in now, it's like we're in the cube and we're on our last life. So, we can't have another slip up. If we can win the next 4, we've got a chance of getting into the playoffs. If we don't win any one of them, that's probably us cooked. So, people have won in the cube in the past on the last life.
How does that affect your mindset? Does it make you feel cautious because you've got no margin for error, or is it kind of a caution to the win, nothing to lose kind of thing?
I think it has to be the latter. We've got everything to gain, and what we lose is what we'd already lose if we don't win anyway. So, what we have to do is just focus on one game, which is the next game, and you can't be in contention if you don't win that game. And that's what we said to the players on Tuesday. We'd like to win the last 5. You can't win the last 5 unless you win the first one, and then 5. And now it comes 4. You can't win the last 4 unless you win the last one. So go and see where it takes us.
How important is confidence, and how much will that have been boosted by the result you got the other night?
I think you see us as a team, and when our forwards get it right, and our attacking players get it right. So when our attacking midfielders and our forwards retain the ball up the top end of the pitch and get us out with a different team. And the more we can do that, the better chance we give ourselves of winning games. You know, there's not many teams who'll have 26 shots against Doncaster and only score 2 goals from penalty spots. So, you know, we're going in the right direction. From that perspective, that we're making chances. We've got to convert them now, and you know, Tuesday was a very, very impressive performance by us. Let's hope we can build on that.
Sunderland and a trip to the Stadium of Light, will going to a ground like that, a stadium of that magnitude, kind of hammer home the behind closed doors thing? I was at Old Trafford the other day and it felt particularly weird in an empty stadium like that. Yeah,
but you know, if you detach yourself from everything, it should favour us, doesn't it? Logic says it should favour us rather than the home side. I'm not thinking too much about that. I'm just thinking that I've got to play against 11 Sunderland players, not them vociferous, very, very passionate Mackhams, is it? Yeah, Mackham fans. So, you know, I think they, you know, you watch the documentary and you see how much it means to them. You know, very insightful documentary, and that's why I said, you know, when we initially went up into League One and everyone was saying, oh, there's a chance Accrington could be playing Sunderland. And while it's nice to go to these places, these clubs should be playing higher. And I want the top sides to succeed. I've always been like that. I've never been one to look at people and want them to fail. I want them to do well. And you know, Sunderland's have got a marvellous fan base, great passionate fans, and a massive club that unfortunately isn't where they should be, in my opinion. And I'd like to see them restored to where they should be in the leagues. Has it been easier to play away this season? It didn't feel that way against Peterborough. Listen, it's as hard to play at home as it is away, and most seasons it's like that. You know, every game you play is a difficult game, and you've got to be at the top of your game to win. Historically, it's always been harder to win away from home. You know, you need things to fall into your place, and I think the stats tell you that's not as difficult now because of the lockdown. Well, whether it's because of the lockdown or it's a freak season, I don't know. But I do miss our fans at home, I must admit, and it would have been great to have, you know, our crowd bouncing on Tuesday, making the chances that we had, getting them on the edge of the seats, having a pint with them and winners hour afterwards. That's what we miss. They knocked the bar down. I know. You'd have been standing in a building site with a tin. We could have got a marquee. That's been known. Indeed. Sunderland's season seems like it's been a strange one from the outside looking in. They had a real renaissance when Lee Johnson took over and won the EFL trophy, and recent weeks maybe not quite so strong. What have you made of him going in there? Done well. He should do well, you know. He knows his onions. He was working where he's not gone into a team that's in free fall, which most managers do when they get a job. So he's gone into a good squad of players. Healthy budget, marvellous training grounds. I can't feel sorry for him, that's for sure. He's done a good job, and you know, he'll still believe he's got a great chance of getting them promoted. Do you think the pressure's different on a Sunderland manager to the manager of Accrington because of factors you mentioned there, because of the kind of resources and the expectations? Maybe. I wouldn't know, because if I was manager of Sunderland or if I was manager of Accrington, I'd put the same amount of pressure on myself. So I honestly don't really feel external pressure, because I'm more concerned with the pressure that I put from myself and my own standards and the people who are around me, you know, my colleagues and the players who play for me. And I feel the pressure from them, and that's what you should be. That's what you should be at football. And there's too many keyboard warriors who want to hide behind things and try and cause up a stir and upset the equilibrium of football clubs, and just to get a reaction and feel that they're having an input. People should just be left to do the jobs, and if you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're not, you're not. Personnel-wise, you're not too far away from having a few selection headaches. Are you in a good way, having players coming back? And obviously Adam Phillips came in the other night and did a great job as well. Yeah. Well, you know, I think Joe's knocking on the door now. We haven't ruled him out being able to be travelling on Saturday. Joe Pritchard. Joe Maguire back from illness. Sorry. Louis Mansell impressing with the 23s last week. So, yeah, it's quite good. And, they've still got a few long-termers, injuries, but, they're around the lads and they want them to do well, and that's all you can ask for them.
Will we get a more representative picture of what this squad is about between now and the end of the season, because you don't have massive numbers missing like you did earlier?
Possibly, but, we've had a healthy balance in the squad, or we've had a healthy squad for the last couple of weeks, and we've turned in some really inseparable performances and turned in some magnificent performances, and I'd sooner prefer to take the blame when it doesn't go right and praise the players when it does go right, because I know how hard they work, and even when it doesn't go right they still work hard. So I should be the one who they can use as a bit of a shield and play with a bit of freedom. And any plaudits they get, or any bouquets they get thrown on them, they thoroughly deserve, because of how hard they've worked this season. Unusual season, as I said before, with 17 players having COVID in 1 week. We don't know the long-term ramifications of that, but they haven't eased up on their effort, that's for sure. And come the end of the season, I'll shake everyone's hand and thank them for the efforts that they put in.